All right, now we come to another very spacey courtyard. This is a space in between the two main chambers with two annex chambers on the side, which is now also exhibition room. So if you're interested in history or knowing more of this agriculture temple, once you come to the temple, please be my guest and spend some decent amount of time, like walking into each different showroom, the exhibition room to see more of the history. I'm sure that you will not be disappointed. There's a whole lot that I think from the tour of this museum or the tour to the temple, you manage to know China or ancient dynasties a lot more better. Um, and I think that's one reason why we came here. So um, there used to be gods of secondary significance, like gods that are not that important compared to Taisui that were placed in each different chamber on the side. But now, as you can see, the digital screen, it's all exhibition room with things that we can learn. And ladies and gentlemen, our ultimate goal today is the Taisui Hall. So just now, I explained to you what Taisui means. That's like a very important year of God. Sorry, God of year. Like we're yearly God because this Taisui is basically it's a definition of one period of time, which is the length of a year, the time length of a year. Before we go into this the main chamber, I just want you to see the size of it. It's a humongous like wooden structure. So I know that a lot of international friends they come to Beijing, your priority is the Forbidden City. I know that sometimes in the touring season, in the peak season, it's not that easy to get tickets for the Forbidden City. But I think we do have privilege for like international friends to make it more, I think, convenient for you to see the palace compound. But just in case, if you miss the opportunity of going to the Forbidden City, and this could be a perfect replacement, right? Traditional Chinese architecture with the same design. And just now we were talking about the very complicated mortars and tenons, the wooden structure. So if you take a look of that little triangular wooden compounds, like under the roof, and as you can see, it looks like a little alligator, with his mouth like sharp wooden shard, like sticking out. Uh, it has like multiple folds and layers, and I think that really helps the building to increase a better withstanding during the earthquake. That's the charm and advantage of the Chinese wooden structure. Right now, if you can follow me, we're gonna step into the building. So I know that there is a lot for us to see. Um, there are lots of documents and pictures on the wall, and each one tells us the history or some information of the temple. But once you come here, there is one like the major highlight. That's basically, I believe, most of the people the reason why we're here. Take a look at this. So I have to ask our cameraman to raise the camera so you can see this. It's beyond my words for the description of this very ornate, like complicated, but extremely beautiful. I would use the word splendid. It's a craftsmanship. It's an art, not just a Caisson. All right. I believe that it must be functioning back in ancient time when it was designed the first time. But just take a look at it. What does that remind you? What does it look like? So if anybody have heard of a very classic Chinese novel back in the Ming Dynasty called 西游记, like a journey to the West. There was one chapter that this legendary monkey king Wukong was fighting all the heavenly guards that came down from up there. And I believe this could be a perfect image or the imagination of our celestial world, of the heavenly court up there where the Yuhuang Dadi, or the Huangtian Shangdi, the god of heaven, where he lived. See those multiple layers that looks like a ring of clouds, like these very auspicious clouds, which holds those halls where gods were his heavenly guards, where they stationed or lived. Imagine, what if there is a different world up there with this very interesting structure and like people of different hierarchy. The god will be living in the very top, on the very top, and then his guards will be on the second level, and all the heavenly soldiers, they'll be guarding the gates on the very bottom level, and that will be quite an interesting fiction. So on the very, very top, before we walk away, there is just one more thing I want to point out. On the very top, there is a map of star. And that's the ancient, I think, the observation of the universe, and based on which that we created this map of Chinese stars. All right. On the very center, I believe that's Taway, the most important star, where the god of heaven lived, and that's why the emperor would rule the world underneath, which is named the Purple Forbidden City, Zijincheng. All right. Wow. It's been a long time since I raised my neck that high for such a long time. Okay. So we're going to bid farewell to this highlight because we're not the only one who come here for this. But if you take a look around at take a look at those beautiful exhibitions around the house. And here you can see, wow, hundreds of tools, like for carpenters. So it's with those tools, and of course the great craftsmanship that gave us those wooden structure. These are the wooden logs. It shows you like different materials of different sizes. And also the inner structure, the interior structure, the supporting structure of the house. So see the columns, those wooden columns, they are of key importance. They're the one that, holds the superstructure. And also those are the mythical animals on the rooftop, basically inside the Forbidden City, starting from this fairy on the back of a rooster to dragon and phoenix, lion, heavenly horse. I'm sorry, here the seahorse comes first and followed by heavenly horse and 鸭鱼, 酸泥, 蟹豸, 斗牛, 夯实. Those are all Chinese mythical animals that are in control or, I don't know, protecting the world of their own. Yeah. And the painting tools and those beautiful paintings. Well, if you come this close, then you have an idea of why we don't call it painting, but I can't find another proper word like to replace painting, because there are paints, on those, arts, but actually it's three-dimensional. If you see it from the side, then you can see it comes out. It's not just like water painting on one panel, all right? Because when we created the work, there has to be like stitches. They would have to use thread to like go along the line. And then they will have to, it's just very complicated, like 立大粉, 小粉, and 贴金, and how to glue gold on top of it. And this is the Chinese, like the design of different window shape. And can you believe that? If you have that back in your house, I believe this is not just a window. You're actually putting art on the wall. And here, not just the very artistic wooden the work on the wooden structure or the windows, the screens and glazed tile, even the bricks, it has to be made of certain size in order to ensure the quality of the brick. See on the side of it, there is the craftsman who's in charge of making that brick. Their name will be printed on the side. We believe this is a very early quality control system. So if anything goes wrong, they know who they need to go after. But including this one, I believe this guy is the reason why now in the Forbidden City or Temple of Heaven, and no matter which imperial building compound that we're talking about, that the local authority would stop people from going in, is mainly because of those guys, because those were made. Take this one for example, and I think that could be from the Qing Dynasty. So we call them the gold bricks, or in Chinese known as Jinzhuan. Those are not made of gold, but because of the very complicated and exhausting making process, that each brick, technically, I think it takes more than 2 years for us to make the bricks. And after sampling and checking the quality of the brick, we need to ship it from all the way from South China back to Beijing. And because of all that efforts, that makes those bricks now not just relics but priceless. So you can imagine if we allow millions of visitors that come to the palace compound every year to step on that, it could be a tragedy or a catastrophe. And this is a simulation, like a little model that realized the kiln, basically the whole camp of where they made the bricks. And see, after they storage all the made products, I think it's each of the kiln will produce about 6,000 or 7,000 bricks from one kiln, like firing. And then they would storage before they storage those into the warehouse. They need to pick 5 or 6 bricks as sample for testing the quality. And I think they need to break it, break a brick from the middle to make sure there's no air bubble, in the breaking panel. And also they would knock or hit the surface of the brick by using a jade hammer to hear the sound of the knocking. Because of the very strict making process, the brick should produce a very sharp, high-pitched sound, same as metal. So in Chinese, the testing is known as 击之如磬,断之无孔, which means the sound of knocking the brick sounds like metal. And then once you break it, there shouldn't be any air bubbles in the middle. So if they found defection in any of the sampling, any of the brick, then the whole 7,000 or 6,000 bricks from this kiln will be all thrown away. All right, ladies and gentlemen, my dear friends, and here, can you focus on my face. But before we move on to this very attractive, the map of Beijing, I just want to say it one more time. Stay tuned, and please, thank you for watching Visit Beijing. Please stay with us for the next episode and all the later episodes. We're trying to show you something new in Beijing, and also to tell you more history of the story of the history of Beijing. All right, little advertisement. So now we come to the map. This is the entire stretch of the Ming and Qing Dynasty Beijing, with the highlight that stands out in the middle. That's the palace compound, known as the Palace Museum, or used to be the Forbidden City. And then the flatter part, which looks very like smooth and shiny, that's the man-made lakes. That's more like the water dragons on the side of this, like the young dragon, which is mainly made of marble and wood. Like with all the zillions of little houses that forms like these square blocks, and the little alleyways in between those blocks are known as hutong. Or now people think that's just the traditional term for the neighborhood. Oh, this is very interesting. And here, I think this demonstrates the idealistic layout or map of a king's living quarter or of a king's palace. I don't know how your house is designed. Can you believe that? There are 3 paths that run from north to south, intersected with those alleyways or path from east to west. And also that's like the xiaoqin. I believe that refers to like the minor bedroom, and surrounded by like little houses of different functions, with 3 city gates on each different side. And that's, I think, from Zhou Li Kao Gong Ji, like the classic from 2,000 years ago. And here we can see another great relic, which is also the Caisson from the top of the building, from the ceiling. Just if you see the size of it, and not to say, all the very, very much detailed carving of the dragons around it. And I think that would give you an idea of why this great like civilization from feudal time is worth of like visiting or checking. Then you have to take at least one trip here, because we have so much more than just the palace compound to show you. Just take a look at the details of the dragon, and also all the little like flower-like carvings on the side. All right, our dear friends from Visit Beijing, once again, we thank you for watching our program, and it's such an honor for us to travel with you. Although you're from the other side of the screen, but we really love to show you more of Beijing City. Okay, and this is, I think, a special surprise for you. Before we wrap it up, and here comes the emperor and the empress. Those are civilians like dressed up. They come here for picture. I think no matter if you're here for history and culture or just for fun and picture, there's nothing wrong with it. This temple is full of culture, and I think it gives us a great venue, great place that people can relax and enjoy more of Beijing. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, guess it's time for us to say goodbye to you. Stay tuned. We'll see you next time.